Alright, let's talk about mulch. And as we get into this, keep in mind this is my second year gardening, so I'm mostly talking about what I've learned in my research and over a fairly short amount of gardening. Mulch is, from what I can tell, probably one of the most important things to do in your garden, and there are a lot of benefits to it. It's going to keep your soil moist. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you look right here, this hasn't been watered in like 4 days, and it's still really wet soil. And look at that. That is a wet soil. 4 days not watering. It's Utah. It's really dry here. It's not humid at all. Like, a lot of people who come here from like the east and stuff like really struggle with our dry air. So our soil dries out really fast. So that moisture in your soil is going to help sustain life. Your soil is a living thing, and you want that fungus and that bacteria and all the little bugs in the soil to help break down the organic material and make more nutrients available to your plants. When you have bare soil exposed to the sun starts killing off all those things that you want your plants to have access to. Like if you're mulching with wood or like grass or whatever, you're gonna get that fungus breaking down the grass, and you're gonna get a lot of worms coming in. And those worms are gonna come up and they're gonna eat the grass and the wood or whatever you're putting in your garden, and they're going to take it down, and it's actually going to improve the soil below the mulch. Like if you have like really terrible like red clay or black clay like we have here, those worms are going to come and they're going to start taking that organic material down into that bad soil in the form of worm castings. When you're continuously adding organic material to your soil, like in the form of mulch on top, your soil is going to get better every single year. Over time, you won't even have to be fertilizing your garden. It's going to become more nutrient rich. Your structure is going to be better. Your soil won't compact as much, and when you get compacted soil, your plants won't grow, the roots won't penetrate. Like your dirt just gets rock hard and nasty. When your soil structure improves, your soil is going to drain better, it's going to retain water better, and it'll be easier to grow things like carrots, potatoes, those things that need to be able to expand in the soil. What I mean by compacted soil is this. This is like, and I mean this is on top of our grass because we didn't get all of our dirt cleaned up fast enough before when we were expanding our garden, but this stuff is rock hard. I can't even break it apart with my hands, really. So our strawberry soil, this soil is a little more broken down because it's older than that little patch of my onions. But look at this. I can stick my fingers right into the soil, and when I grab it, and look at that. Compact it, and then it just breaks apart when I squeeze it. And I don't till the soil. I didn't cultivate it at all. This is just how the soil is all the time. Okay, I just want to emphasize on the organic material. So our garden bed soil that we ordered, what we did when we built our gardens is we dug all of our grass out because we had a bunch of quack grass out in our yard. We had to dig out our gardens about that deep, and then we filled it all with this garden bed soil. The garden bed soil that we bought, it has a bunch of wood chips, and this can be a problem in the first year because the wood chips in the soil can tie up the nitrogen, but over time, let me show you real quick what it looks like. So this is our soil, and it kind of what happens is it's got kind of like its own little layer of mulch from the wood chips that are in it. A lot of the soil washes down and then the wood floats up, but there's still quite a bit of wood inside the soil. This is what that soil looks like after a year. And it's beautiful. It's got great structure. It holds water really well. Anyways, like I said, that's why you want the organic material in your soil. Another way that your garden can benefit from mulch is insulation from the temperature. So whether that's the heat or the cold, if it's really hot where you live, somewhere like Palmdale, you're going to be able to keep your soil from getting way too hot in the summertime. And if you live somewhere where it snows, then you're going to get a little bit of extra time to pull out those in-ground vegetables that would normally freeze if you've got a late harvest. Alright, so I'm not an expert gardener. Like I said, I'm pretty new at it. So I'm not going to tell you how to mulch your garden, but I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. I'm mulching with grass and leaves. One important thing about this is I stopped spraying my lawn for this reason. Partially because I want to be able to take some of the little edible snacks out of my lawn if I want to, for foraging purposes, and also because I don't want herbicides in my lawn so that I can use my grass as mulch for my garden. So basically what I've done is I've got a bunch of leaves from my brother-in-law's yard. He has a bunch of trees. I don't have any. And I dumped a bunch on my lawn right before I was about to mow it. I mowed them up. I didn't do that today because what I've found is that the leaves blow away really easy, and it's nice to be able to lay down that layer of the mix, and then I'll put a layer of grass on top, because for some reason the black grass doesn't have the same tendency to blow away. Also, what I found is that the leaves, when they're blowing around, they like to settle into like divots and holes. I ended up with like a bunch of leaves that had settled on top of my cabbages and my lettuce. Okay, something I forgot to mention earlier is one of the benefits of mulching your garden is that it helps suppress the weeds. Because that is one of the benefits, you have to be really careful about mulching over your seeds that you planted and your really small plants. I've got like a really thin layer of mulch around, like, I don't know, my small pea plants. I didn't put any mulch around my carrots because they're still tiny right now. Even my potatoes, even though that's like a really sturdy plant that would probably push up through, I didn't put down really thick mulch over my potato rows either. Yeah, you got to be careful not to smother out the plants that are just coming up and are still tiny and fragile. Basically, I mulch twice a week, and every time I get a full bag, I go and I'll sprinkle a thin layer over whatever patches I feel like need it. And you know, it's kind of a family affair for us, so everyone in the family helps garden. The girls get into it. They love helping me mulch the garden. They're not very good at it, but they love to help, and I love having them out here with me. So I've probably been doing less than an inch at each mowing. Another thing I want to mention is that I'm not just mulching around where the plants are. Before I even had plants in some of the areas, I started putting mulch down, because that kind of started help feeding the soil, and it helped break down some of that soil that was having trouble draining at first. This soil, when it was new, was not draining very well and was just sucking up so much water. I could water for like an hour and the water would only get like an inch deep. It was crazy. You don't need to have plants there to mulch. If you've got bare soil, just cover it and it'll get better, and once you want to put something there, you'll have improved soil. So I'm mulching with grass and leaves, but there are lots of other free sources of mulch that you can find, or really cheap. Most local dumps will have a big pile of wood chips, or even, you know, whatever they've got labeled as mulch that you can go buy by the yard. You can also use wood chips. Those will also be at the dump, or you can get chip drop and have them delivered for free in most cases. I'm using grass because it's here, it's available. I get new grass every week, and I can just put it over there. I don't really have enough garden to get a chip drop. I don't really have a truck to go fill up with wood chips or mulch, so I'm using my grass. It's not something that's really hard to do, and you know, it's nice to wherever you go or wherever you're living, whatever property you have, to improve the soil, because all life starts from the soil. Mulching is something you can do for free to improve your garden. Pretty much anyone should be able to do it, and you know, it can make your gardening easier. It can make your food taste better. Hopefully, this can make your gardening easy enough for you to try it. And if you've had a garden for a while and haven't tried it, I really think that it'll help improve your garden this year and next year. Hopefully, I had some useful information for you today, and you know, just let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.